Well, it's that time of year again when very large men from around the world start fighting it out for places at the World's Strongest Man finals. Now, those finals will take place here in the state capital of West Virginia, Charleston. But before the athletes can get here, they have to qualify from 4 Grand Prix events, the first of which takes place at the Mohegan Sun Casino and Resort in Uncasville, Connecticut. We also see the beginning of Mariusz Pudzianowski's march towards what he hopes will be an unprecedented 5th world title. Can anyone arrest his progress? We shall have to wait and see.
Mariusz Pudzianowski, I'm here to stop you.
Yes, welcome to the Mohegan Sun Casino here in Uncasville, Connecticut. Normally a boxing venue, but it's strongmen of a different kind this evening. For the 4th time, it's the World's Strongest Man Super Series here at this venue. 12 competitors led by the local hero, the local cop. A cop that's actually popular, but who would mess with Big Derek Poundstone? Well, one man that would love to mess with him, of course, is Mariusz Pudzianowski. This is a man that wants his 5th World's Strongest Man title. Poundstone and 10 others here in Uncasville are looking to upset his progress. So the lights are on. Let's meet the big fellas. Lots of Americans in the field, all state champions. Marshall White, he comes from way out west in Washington State. Brian Shaw is Colorado's strongest man. Here's Carl Gillingham. We've seen plenty of him before from Minnesota. Jason Bergman, he's the little fella from Wisconsin. Little being not quite the appropriate word. From north of the border, Jessen Polen. This fella lives in California, but flies under the flag of Norway. The old boy, Odd Haugen. Originally from Grenada, now from Blackburn, England, Mark Felix. Josh Thigpen is from Texas. We've seen this fella before as well, another Minnesota man, Big Dave Ostlund, 6'7". From Poland, the other Pole, Sebastian Venter, 2nd of World's Strongest Man last year. And this fella was 3rd, of course, Terry Hollands from Dartford. Rounding out the group, let's meet Derek Poundstone once again, the local hero and the defending champion, Mariusz Pudzianowski.
First event then is the power medley, and you've got to flip this 900-pound tire for 4 flips down the course. As if that wasn't enough, Sven, you got to grab this farmer's walk implement. It's around about 840 pounds. That's nearly 400 kilos, or best part of, lift it up. But if that wasn't hard enough, you got to run it down this 50-foot course, just over 15 meters. Sven, what's the hardest bit?
The hardest part here is going to be the grip. And we're going to see a big difference here with the frame carry, I think. The tire is going to be pretty even by the guys, but the difference is going to be made here with the frames.
There you go. Sven couldn't have said it better.
Well, talk about being thrown in at the deep end. Josh Thigpen couldn't complete the course. This fella could, though. Marshall White, just over 30 seconds. That's a pretty fast time. Odd couldn't keep a grip, but he regrouped. 65 seconds. Carl Gillingham just over the 30 seconds as well. Poor old Jessen Polen. He managed the tyre, but he couldn't budge the contraption. So here's Colorado's strongest man, Brian Shaw, who is being tipped as a possible dark horse in this competition, going up against Jason Bergman. This really is a little enlarged show, isn't it? Because Bergman almost dwarfed by that tyre. Shaw at 6'8", the tallest man in the tournament. So 4 flips of this 900-pound tyre. That is the easy part. It's this big beast at the other end that's the problem. 840 pounds, and you heard Sven Carlsen say it's the grip. Get the grip right, you've got a chance at everything else. And not surprisingly, these two fellas taking it nice and steady, because if you don't get the grip right and you put that down, you have to completely regroup, as we saw with Mohegan. Keeping it going is fantastic from Brian Shaw, who's torn it up just over 25 seconds. And Bergman, well, he won't be too unhappy with that. He's just outside the top three there.
I think that 25 seconds is going to be very hard to beat. The former basketball player, that was a few years and a few stone ago, wasn't it? What a grip he's got. Great speed with his feet as well. Bergman, I didn't quite have the power to get all the way to the end.
Dave Ostland, a man from Minnesota, usually looks down on the rest of the field, but he's an inch smaller than the big fellow we've just seen. And Sebastian Venter, one of the good guys on the tour. Well, they know the mark that's been set by Brian Shaw. You've got to do this in under 26 seconds if you want maximum points. Remember, only the first 4 will qualify automatically for the world's strongest man. And Ostland really took his time with that grip. And you saw the effort it took just to get that thing up. Now here comes Venter. Venter's starting to really motor, and yeah, Big Dave's in a bit of trouble. Venter's not though. Now can Venter find the fit? Oh no, just shy. Oh, that was close. And whoa, now Seb. No, you can't slide it. Oh, a big error of judgment from Sebastian Venter. Dave managed to finish. Won't be happy with 40.21, but what was going through Sebastian Venter's mind?
Well, that was a tough call from referee Art McDermott there. He should have picked it up and placed it over the line. Instead, he dragged it 42 feet, and he was going so well.
Coming up after the break, it's an all-British clash between second and third at Britain's strongest man this year. And there's little love lost between these two. Dartford's Terry Hollands and Blackburn's Mark Felix. A carpenter versus a plasterer. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Mohegan Sun Super Series Grand Prix. Britain's Terry Hollands and Mark Felix are about to compete in the opening event, the medley, an event where they're very evenly matched. Over to your commentators Nick Halling and Colin Bryce.
You never want to lose to a fellow countryman. So bad enough being in a field of 12 big men with only 4 of you guaranteed to make the world's strongest man. What you definitely don't want to do is finish second in your country, and that sure is going through the minds of big Terry Hollands on the left here, and Mark Felix, and maybe Mark has not learned the lesson. He just tried to pick that thing up, and it's too big for that. You can't just lift and hope. You've got to get your grip established firmly first. Terry only just made that, you know, and he's got a terrific time. Now, are they going to let him have that, or are they going to say he had a slide?
Oh, that was borderline, wasn't it?
Oh, you're not kidding.
That was very borderline. Felix definitely got a better start there, didn't he? The tyres, no problem for Mark. But then he made a real hash of picking up that first weight. But look at the end. Well, a bit of inconsistency there from the referee. I thought he slid that.
And certainly one of the other competitors earlier had a little slide, and that was allowed. Anyway, it goes on, and here's a little grudge match right off the bat. Here's the big fella, Marius, looking to silence this crowd. He's up against the local hero, Derek Poundstone. Poundstone, America's strongest man, but it seems no one knows much about him.
I know Marius always gets the big Polish crowd, but I'm building this to be hopefully Poland, USA, world's strongest man, United States strongest man. At America's Strongest Man, I won by a record 30 points. It's never been done in the history of the competition, and going to day one, I knew I had it. You know, I started winning events, and it didn't end. Any event I didn't win, I took second place in. So out of 8 events, I won 6, took second place in 2, which is unheard of in that level of show. I'd like to tell Marius, welcome to Connecticut. Oh, he knows who I am. I'm sure he knows who I am. I mean, I'm known pretty well in the strength community. More of an obscure athlete, and I work a full-time job as a policeman. It's not like I can go out there and compete every weekend like some of these other guys. I just don't have the time and schedule, but don't be fooled, man. I train every day of my life, and this is what I train for. So it's gonna be a welcome to Connecticut for him. I think we're both physically very similar athletes. We both have the same strengths, no real weaknesses. So the best script would be to come down to me and him in stones, because can't get any better than that, man. Pound stone. It's in the name. It's destiny.
So from pounding the beat to mixing with the big men. How is Derek Poundstone going to get on in elite company? He's up against the governor, the four-time world's strongest man, and he's being cut down to size here, Poundstone, really running with the big dogs. Oh, but the big dog's had a stumble. And look at the place go crazy as Poundstone tries to take him on the inside. Marius all over the place. Now, Poundstone has not finished. That will not count. So close. And he had a slide as well. We saw Venter get disqualified with that, and we saw Holland's in trouble, and Puchanovsky looks in disgust at 32.59, but Poundstone, I think, got a little bit carried away there, and they are giving him just 40 feet 5 inches. So close to glory for Derek Poundstone.
If you land right here, they get like a foot across, but you landed 10 feet back, and then it slid all the way across the line.
And that is right, unfortunately.
What does that mean?
Well, how unpopular a decision is that? The referee making a tough call there. Did he lift it or did he slide it?
What does that mean? It doesn't change anything.
There were a lot of athletes at the finish line, sliding apparatus across the line. Derek's hit the ground well back, 10 feet back, and was unable to get it back in the air and slid the rest of the finish line. Much like Venta did the same thing, the same call.
Now, Derek, come here, Derek. Listen, now I know you're not happy, but how did you see that one?
It fell. I was running. I fell over the implement, picked it up, fell backwards over the line. I picked it up on the way up, across the line. On the way up, I picked it up.
First place goes to the surprise package of Brian Shaw at a very impressive and mistake-free time of 25 seconds, and Britain are looking healthy in 2nd and 5th place.
So, event 2 is the Mohegan Sun Viking Press. This bad boy you have to lift up overhead as many times as possible in 60 seconds. It weighs 150 kilos. That's 330 pounds in the hand. Sven, how difficult?
It's going to be very interesting. I think this might be the heaviest Viking press in the history of strongman. I think 12 reps going to win it.
Well, 12 reps is what won it last year, and it was lighter. But the Viking has spoken.
Viking was not right. 12 reps? How about 1 rep? Jason Paulin couldn't even manage that. Josh Thigpen, he didn't get close either. 5. The old boy, 55-year-old Odd Haugen, well, a couple for him. Maybe those one-armed bandits were still full of coins, because Dave Ostland, normally pretty good at it. 5 reps. What about Mark Felix? A real surprise there. Just 5 reps for the plasterer from Blackburn, Carl Gillingham. His unlucky number also 5. Marshall White was so disappointed with only 4. And Jason Bergman, the little fella from Wisconsin, managed 7. Maybe power rather than stature is what it's all about. Brian Shaw, the leader, couldn't make a mark. So, a chance here for Derek Poundstone, watched by some colleagues who don't quite look in his class in terms of powerlifting. But they'll be cheering him on. Well, he looks good through 2. He looks good through 3 as well. Now, can anybody get double figures? Now, if he can get past that, he gets big points. Because there's a bunch of them on 5, and Poundstone has pushed all those guys on 5 down 1. And he looked very confident there when he did that little pause at 6.
That's equal Bergman 7.
1 more, he'll take the lead. Now it's hard, though. I don't think the 12's going to go. But anytime you can milk the crowd like this, it does show you the kind of confidence this guy's feeling. And he's the sort of guy that will use as motivation what he sees as being unfairly treated in the medley. He takes the lead.
That's not bad, 8 reps, but of course Marius did do 12 last year.
Sebastian Venter, who's got some ground to make up after his aberration on the medley as well. The big advantage for these guys is they know what they've got to beat.
Oh, Sebastian Venter, he's a tall man, long arms. You'd think it's not suited for him, but